Hey crafty friends, welcome back to the channel. This is day 7 of the Spooky and Sweet Halloween craft series. And today we're going to be making a clean and simple-ish card using products from the Rabbit Hole Design. We're going to be using the Spooky Sightings stamp set. I'm going to be using Jack of All Faces for the sentiment, and I'm going to use my You've Been Framed dies to cut my base. And then I was debating on the stencils Connected by the Stars, and I can't remember what this one's called. Something circles. I'll have it all listed in the supply list below. So to start off, we're going to need our cardstock. I have a pitch black A2 top folding card base, a piece of hammer mill smooth cardstock for the inside, and then I have 2 pieces of the same cardstock. This is the 100-pound. I have one for the outside, and then I have stamped my pumpkin house on one, and I'm letting that dry before we color it. So to start off, we're going to do our work on our background. So you're going to need some mint tape or something, a 1-inch low tack tape that's not going to tear your paper. And we are going to line this up right on the edge of our cardstock, just like so. So you're just going to line mask off all 4 sides, making sure to line your 1-inch tape up along the edge. All right, now we're going to do some ink blending on our panel. And I chose to use distressed inks. I'm going to use Picked Raspberry, Villainous Potion, and Wilted Violet. And stick around to the end and I'll show you a different version of the same card. All right, so I'm going to start with my Picked Raspberry. And I'm going to go from the top and start blending down. I do not have a cottontail blending brush for pinks yet. I need to order some more. I do have a purple, a blue, and an orange, and I'm supposed to have a green somewhere, but I don't know where it went to. All right, so that was my Picked Raspberry, and I'm going to come in with Wilted Violet, and I'm going to come up from the bottom. I am going to do the ink blending twice, just so we have a nice smooth application of color. And then I'm going to come in with Villainous Potion. And since that's a darker purple, I chose to use a different brush, just so I didn't have to clean that other brush in between. We're going to come back in with our second layer. This is the Wilted Violet. And then our Picked Raspberry. I'm going to take my Connected by the Stars stencil, and I'm going to come back over what I previously ink blend and do a second layer of color. Because what's going to happen is we're going to have a very subtle pattern in that background. Just like that. I'm going to go ahead and peel this off. When you're peeling your tape, make sure to pull away from you. Now, I'm going to do a little stamping. I'm going to take the floral spider web image, and I'm going to stamp that. And I'm going to stamp it in Distress Oxide ink in the very same colors, because they should match. I'm going to start off with the top here. I'm okay with they overlap slightly. So our Villainous Potion one. I'm going to add a little bit more right in there. I actually probably don't have to have the whole thing. Okay. So I'll set that to the side, let that dry, and I'll work on my coloring. So let's do our hat first. I'm going to go with cool grays. I'm going to color it dark. So I'm going to start where I want it to be the darkest. Come along that edge. Up under here. I'm going to get a bit of center highlight, I think, this time. Anywhere an object lays on top of another object, you're going to have that shadow. So always remember that. Now I'll blend that out with my CG7. Remember, you might have to work it just a little bit. Go in with CG5. Work with those blends together. I'm going to come back and work that blend a little bit more. Add just a little bit more detail. All right, for our pumpkin, I'm going to go in with 027 as my darkest color. It's going to go right around where any of those little creases in the pumpkins would be, underneath the hat. And I'll blend that out with 025 and 024. So we're going to start with 025. And we'll blend it out with 024. All right, I'm going to do that with RV 1.7 and put in my shadows. Just adding them slightly. All right, I'm going to come in with R1.5. So start my blends. I'm going to use RV 1.3. And I've been using RVs the whole time. Coming in now with Y2.3. And then I'm going to blend that out with Y2.0. Now for our next flower, we're going to do V 2.8. Right there. And I'm going to blend out with V 2.6. I'm really just going to do a two-color blend because I want it to look like both of our purples are represented. And they're super small little petals, so for my door, I'm going to do OR 3.8. And OR 3.7. For our little chimney stacks, I'm going to do warm grays. This is WG5. I'm just going to add a little bit of that and then blend that out with WG3. And we'll move on to our leaves, and we're going to do YG 1.6. Right down the middle of each of our little leaves. All right, I'm going to switch to YG 1.4. Start blending that out. And then I'm going to go to YG 1.2. My lightest color. Okay, on the ones that we just colored with one color, we can actually come back in now and add that same color in and make it a little bit darker. So it looks like you use more than one color. By adding just a second layer, and you can also add a third layer as well. So if you want to stretch your markers, that's how you do that. All right, now I'm going to cut this out with my snips, and I'll be right back. All right, I have cut my little pumpkin house out. I'm going to set that to the side. We are going to pull in our card front, and we are going to cut this down with the You've Been Framed dies. We're going to use the second rectangle in the set. So I'm just going to make sure everything's lined up. perfectly squared. All right, for my inside piece, I'm going to stamp. I think this time I'm going to do the potion bottles. And I'm going to do that in Villa's potion. All right, I'll move this to the side. And I'm going to pull in my focal image. And we are going to take our Jack of All Faces stamp set for our sentiment. Put that where I want it to go. Put that on. And I'm going to stamp that. I'm going to use Intensify Black because it's right here. I'm going to pull up my splat box. That in there. And I'm going to take my sentiment stamp. And I'm going to have to stand up so I can see to do this. But I'm going to line that sentiment up the stamp right up on the sentiment that we stamped. And then I'm going to take some Brutus Monroe Shimmer Spray or Shimmer Splash. And I'm going to flick on some gold. Little spritz. And why I put that stamp there is because it actually is going to protect my sentiment from getting anything on it. See? I have a nice pristine sentiment. I'm going to set that to the side. Let that panel dry while we work on the rest of our card. All right, I have my Make Art Station right here. I'm just using this to hold a place. I'm actually going to come in with my Distress inks that we used for our ink blending, and we're going to ink blend our cardstock here because this is going to act as our mat. So I'm going to add the same ink that I did around the edge, or the same ink that's on the same section as our ink blended panel. So at the top would be our picked raspberry, in the middle is our wilted violet, and then we will add in our villainous potion around the bottom. So we're going to mirror our colors. And I just need to come up far enough that our holes in our die cuts, you can see through it. Here's all my parts and pieces. I'm going to go ahead and take my inside piece on the inside of our card base. That's lined up. We'll go ahead and add our focal panel. And then we'll add on our little pumpkin. And I'm going to pop that up So I already had this piece of foam tape cut. I'm going to start off by using that. Pop that down. I'm going to add a few Moon Rock rhinestones, or Magic Rocks rhinestones from Trinity Stamp. Also, to our image, we're just going to add that close to our sentiment. Just to add a little bling, more bling. All right, so we're going to come in, add a few gel pen highlights. All right, we're going to do one more thing. I'm going to go around my edge with my tuxedo black marker, just the edge of my die cut focal image, because actually what's going to happen is, by doing that, is it will stand up from the background a little bit more and make it pop off. It looks like a very, very subtle matte by just tracing that outside edge. All right, there's a look at this card that we did today together. There's a look at the inside. And then here is the other version that I did earlier using the same concept. This is where I use that circle stencil, and then the inside is right there. All right, I hope you have had fun making these cards today. I will see you guys in the next video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you like this video, you're probably gonna like the one coming up right there.